Steve, the local derby against London Scottish is tomorrow. Can you touch on the significance of this fixture for both clubs?
It's a huge fixture in the season. I think when the fixture lists come out at the beginning, it's probably the one that all the spectators and all the players look for, because there's such a huge history of the rivalry between two clubs. It's a very special afternoon, and I know all of the Richmond rugby community are looking forward to Saturday.
We've had some great wins and some challenging defeats against them in recent years. What are some of your best highlights of the derby?
I think each of them are very special games, because I think form often goes out the window. It's very much about what happens on the day. Probably the two highlights for me, when we were promoted to the championship, was it 5 seasons ago? Our first win was against London Scottish here on a Friday night, and that I think was very, very special for all the players and the club. And I think when John O'Woodward, with about 5 minutes to go, sort of ran the length of the pitch to score underneath the posts. I think he deliberately ran past the gentleman holding the bagpipes to make a particular point. Yeah, that was a special highlight. But each of those games are really interesting, and we look forward to Saturday.
We're coming off the back of a frustrating defeat to Coventry. What type of response are you expecting from the squad tomorrow?
I think we do definitely need a response. I think people have said before Saturday going to Coventry, getting a bonus point, almost winning the game at the end, we'd be happy with that. But we've looked at the performance, and there are huge areas where we can improve, and in fact we must improve, because otherwise we risk coming second on Saturday. So there's lots of work to be done. There's been lots of work done during the course of the week. Heading into tomorrow, so there are some things we've got to change.
Scottish, they're still searching for their first win of the season. Would you say that makes them even a tougher opponent, and how will we look to shut them down?
They'll be a very tough opponent. As I said before, I think form goes out the window for this particular fixture. They've got some very experienced forwards, who've played a lot of championship rugby. And they've got some exciting dual registration players from Harlequins, who are keen to make their mark. So, we need to make sure that we are very accurate in what we do, in terms of, playing in the right parts of the field, finding out what the referee wants at the breakdown, making sure our discipline is really good. And I think if we do all those things, that allows us then to play the rugby we're looking to play. I think, we've shown already this season, that we're trying to play a slightly more expansive, form of rugby, because we feel that really threatens sides. And, I'm excited to see how the guys can do that on Saturday.
We've selected a fairly consistent squad again this week, but can you touch on the return of Will Homer and the selection of Vaughan Bentley on the bench?
Yeah, Will, has made a really strong impression since he joined us from Scarlets. Unfortunately, he got a bang on the head down at Pirates, so had to have a bit of time away. But he trained last week, and at a push could have played at Coventry, but we wanted to take things sensibly, so he's back in this week. And Vaughan Bentley has just been fantastic in pre-season and the game so far he's played for the Twos. He came off the back of a knee injury over a year ago, but he's worked so hard to get himself really fit, and I'm really excited to see him get a first team opportunity.
Looking at the championship season as a whole so far, what are your initial thoughts about the competitiveness and the unpredictable nature of the league?
Well, I think you've summed it up. It's very unpredictable. You've already seen Pirates lose at Hartbury, and then Ealing, lose at Pirates. You've seen a full-time team, Doncaster, lose to 2 part-time teams in Coventry and Bedford. So I think there's much more of a mixture this year, and I think there'll be a few more surprises. And I think that makes it really exciting for the fans and for people who follow the championship, because maybe for a bit too long it's been a bit predictable. But when the likes of Pirates and the likes of Doncaster are losing to the part-time teams, all of a sudden everybody sort of ups their game and thinks they stand more of a chance than the pass. So no, I think it's made a really exciting start.
The curtain raiser tomorrow features the first of the annual Vikings versus Saxons matches, an exciting prospect for our club. Can you sort of touch on how we approach this game?
It's approached very seriously. I don't think there are many teams that are good enough to have their second and their third team in the same league, but that's the situation. Both of those teams are unbeaten so far in their league matches. And it'll be a humdinger. As coaches, it's a fantastic opportunity. The guys who are currently in the Vikings, feel they should be in the first team. the guys in the Saxons feel they should be in the Vikings and pushing for the first team. And there's nothing better than a head-to-head contest to actually see who's doing the best. And I think it's really important that that's how the players approach it. I mean, we've had some fantastic matchups in previous seasons, and I'm sure tomorrow's game will be another one of those.
Obviously, as you mentioned, with such strong competition for selection across all teams, how impressive was it to see the Normans claim a really well-earned win against Guernsey last Saturday?
No, I was really pleased, for Nick Dark and all the players who made the really difficult journey across to Guernsey. I mean, they were on the 6:15 train out of Gatwick. They had to get the plane over, to Guernsey. When they arrived at Guernsey, they suddenly got a £25 travel tax they all had to pay, which was unexpected, for a lateral flow test, which they never had to take. And then, unfortunately, the conditions were appalling. I mean, we had plenty of rain in Coventry, but it absolutely hosed down in Guernsey. So, to come away with a 17-3 win over there is fantastic. But also, what was fantastic was the aftermatch. Both sides got together, they enjoyed their company. The guys had a real bonding evening, and we got everybody back on the Sunday. So I think, we had an 18-year-old, a 19-year-old, and a 20-year-old playing on Saturday in that game. I'm sure that they'll remember that experience for many years to come.
And just finally, obviously, you mentioned Sunday. We had the Minis Festival here at Richmond with over 1,000 kids in attendance. We also, in the afternoon, had the women's fixtures. Can you sort of touch on how significant and important this is for the club to have so much rugby back?
I mean, I was here on Sunday, and you cannot believe the number of people at Richmond Rugby Club. I think 1,100 players, and they all had at least one or two parents. So the best part of 3,000 people, on our pitches, throughout the morning. And it was incredibly well organised by Neil Dark and his helpers. It sort of ran like clockwork. And, we've had some fantastic emails from other clubs saying, how much they enjoyed the competition. So, and on the back of that, our women then had to turn up and play a very important, league game against Henley. Henley have been very strong in that league for many years, and our girls had a tough start. But to score 2 tries right at the end and come back and 17-all, they almost could have snuck it at the end. That's a really good outcome. So yeah, I mean, Richmond is about rugby, and there was so much played last weekend. It was fantastic, and long may that continue.
Well, thanks for your time, Steve. We look forward to seeing all Richmond supporters here tomorrow for the derby match against Scottish.
Thanks very much.